Good morning, class. And we are back again for another deck and fight with the CFA stuff. And this time we're moving on to the counterpart of the Mystery Arcs that we covered last time, and that is the manga line of Silhouette. So Silhouette's all about arming yourself up with other units and dealing big numbers and then detaching to create multi-attacks. So really interesting playstyle. So let's actually cover the first card, which is going to obviously be the boss unit himself, in the Gigant Arms Silhouette. So Silhouette's got two skills, first one being Auto Vanguard Circle once a turn. At the beginning of your attack step, you can Soul Blast 1 to choose up to 2 of your rearguards with armed arms in each of their different card names and attach them to this unit. And the second skill is Auto Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle this unit attacked, choose up to 1 of the units attached to this unit and move it to an open rearguard circle at stand. So, just to properly explain, the whole ability of attaching is moving 2 different armed arms to your Vanguard circle that are treated as units but not Vanguard units, and they share their power continuously with the Vanguard. So any trigger power you put on the arms goes to the Vanguard as well. Obviously the crits themselves don't share across, so it is only going to be the Vanguard's crit. But it allows for extra combos because you can obviously give trigger power to the rearguard that's then going to detach. So the Vanguard gains that buff as well as the rearguard swing gaining that buff, which is really interesting. And obviously it's providing the multi-attack for no additional cost as well, so really solid. The start of the attack step is literally the point before you actually declare the attack, so any on-attack skills will activate after Silhouette declares its attack. The other thing that this Silhouette does do is it does get to share the abilities of the armed arms equipped with him. So you can either draw a card or retire and give plus 5k to the end of battle. So you do get some really interesting combos. But you're more likely thinking, well, it seems like a pretty compact package. What else do you want to run alongside it? Well, for me, I've played a little bit differently. And those that have seen the set 10 stuff will have seen a little order package called Dispatch, 3 Sisters of Cleaning. So this is the set order of, during your turn, all of your front row units get power plus 2000. So you might be thinking, well, why this order? Well, this allows us to give 6k to the Vanguard when it's armed, and it's for each copy of this order. So if you stack so many different multiple copies up on the Vanguard circle, it gets to be giving even bigger numbers for no costs whatsoever. This also does come with its own little search package of a couple of the cleaning sisters, which can, on place, counterblast 1, search for the order or the other cleaning sister that we run. So we've got Putzen, Swartz and Mopey, and Putzen, Swartz and Brush, which both search for either each other or dispatch 3 sisters of cleaning. So you've got a nice little bit of compression in the deck alongside obviously Silhouette's own order, so you get so much compression in the deck, which is really nice to have. But enough talking about the cards, let's look at an example game and see how that goes. And here we are in the example game, so just shuffling up, and opponent calls tails, we get heads, so I do get to go first, so it's really nice. And as you can see, here we are against the Chrono Jet Dragon, of all things. And our hand's looking really solid. We've got one of our arms. We've got the Cleaning Sisters order in our hand as well, so we can put some extra pressure out. And we draw into another Cleaning Sisters order, so we can actually get our 3 orders for turn 3, which is really solid. So we ride up, we get to search out our set order for the Silhouette line, who then lets us rest it, check top 7, and send something to the drops, one of our armed arms to the drop zone that's got a different name to what's already in there. And if it's one that's already in there, it goes to hand and the order goes to Soul. So obviously, I only play one for for the fact of I can keep reutilising that one order up to turn 4, which I'm hoping by turn 4 I'll have killed my opponent. So, opponent swings in, 8 Vanguard. I'm not going to guard because I've not got the shield at this point. And we do lose one of our Putin Swartzens. And we draw into another arm, so I can discard that arm. I don't get anything for the grade 2 ride, but I can then use the order after I play the Dispatch Clean Sisters to try and find a blue arm. So I've got 2 arms in circulation. I do fail to find the blue arm. But then we start swinging, because obviously we've got our 2k buff now. We can start putting some real big numbers out. We do get a heal, which is really nice as well. So back down to 0. We've got a bit of shield that we can actually work with now. But we are in the situation of we do need to find a blue arm at some point. Because once our opponent starts getting into Chronojet and spins the blue arm back to the bottom of the deck, we do then lose out on having the full power of the silhouette. We do give a 1 to pass on the Sargon. Unfortunately, they do break through, so they are going to be able to generate some soul, which, that's fair enough. And then they swing in with that. I take that. I'm fine with 2 damage. That means I can actually combo off and do some fun stuff. But we can discard our blue arm now, ride up into Silhouette, and use the Ride Line skill to grab out our 2 separate arms. We can then also now rest the order and search for our blue arm to put into the drop zone again. Because obviously we've not got our blue arm in the drop, which we managed to do. So we're now set up for turn 4 in case we lose one of our arms. We get... Opponent's just saying order soul, right? And I'm just like, no, because I took the blue arm out of there. So obviously we've now got our new second... Dispatch the Cleaning Sisters. And they're going to be giving 4k to the front row now, so we're getting some really big numbers coming in. I have got the Putin Swartzens in my hand, so I can try and find for another booster. So, obviously, Cat Blast 1. I apologise because this is the first time fighting me. That's no problems whatsoever. So we do our top 5 check. Do we find a Cleaning Sister? We find the alternative Cleaning Sister, so we actually get to put some really big numbers down now. And then we start swinging. So, swinging, ideally, yep, with the arm to Cat Blast 1. Draw a card. Because the draw hand power is really nice. Swinging for 22. Opponent gets a heal, but it's not going to make a difference for the fact of the sheer numbers we're about to gain. There we go. We swing in 10, 30, 33, plus the 12 makes it 45. Hit a draw, so we can give it, for reason's sake, we give it to the booster, because it's easier to work out with, and we detach our arm. It gains its 4k again because of the shield, and we're still breaking over all their defensives, so forcing cards out of their hand again. And end of the turn, we detach an arm. But we're in a really good position at this point now, because we've also got 2 copies of Bobble Mine in hand, so we can actually start applying pressure next turn. We've got the good old Gratias Gradale, so we've got a turn 5 Persona Ride if we actually need it. So opponent rides up into Chronojet, Soul Blast 1 to get Bali, and obviously strides using Bali to get good old Fate Rider Dragon. They choose to not spin cards to the bottom of my deck, which I'm more than happy with. So, oh, they drew early. Okay, I think they. Oh, they've got to draw off Bali, so that's what that was. I was fixing that. Calls down the GG. Over that, chooses to move the position. That's fine. 15 Vanguard. Got no issues with that, so I take it. Draw trigger is really nice because it then helps us scale. And we drew into our next Dispatch the Cleaning Sisters, so that's now all our orders out of our deck. to really provide some pressure for this upcoming turn. And we then start swinging in. They do 21 on Vanguard. I've got... Oh, did they change their mind? Oh, yeah, because it doesn't hit. Because it's only 21 to my... They do 21 to the rear guard. I'm an R. And just let it drop at this point. It's not worth keeping. Because I'm more than likely expecting to lose my other arm this turn. Due to the fact of, obviously, the incoming unit's also not going to be able to scale over the silhouette. He goes into an Edom and all things, which is interesting. So we do Perfect Guard, Discarding Bubble Mine, because we don't need this many Bubble Mines at this point. And we are going to end up taking this, because we just can't guard it, because our hand isn't as big as we'd like. Oh, swinging at the rear guard. So that's absolutely fine as well. He then wants to take out the back row, which I've, again, not got any issues with. And this is where we now fully get to go off. And you see the full strength of this deck. So we do have an R, but then go into our Persona Ride. So using the Gradale. Because we do want to get the Cleaning Statistics into Soul. We'll do the arm first, put it to Soul, grab two arms out of drop. And we've decided that it's going to be, we push this turn. If they get rid of an arm, they get rid of an arm. If not, we win next. We have to aim to win next turn. And then the front row gains 6k on top of this, because we've now got 3 copies of the... I do forget to put down the 6ks for the... There we are, I put the 6ks down now. So, I commits the front, which I'm absolutely fine with. We then swing in with 34 next. I do slightly misplay here. I should have actually swung in with the Bomb Mine boosting. Just so I can actually get the counter charge and actually get an additional draw out of it. And this is also prior to them actually having the skill automated for Silhouette, so I do have to manually adjust it. But a nice 81k at the Vanguard's really nice. Do whiff the heal, unfortunately, but give 10k power to Bob Mine. Second check is another arm, so we now know we've got our blue arm, so we just need to find a red arm, ideally off the next turn draw, if the opponent nukes it. And we do swing for 44, pushing our opponent to 5, get the counter charge, and then next turn we're in a really solid position. He does discard the Chronojet, so could be going into the next stage at this point, which he... let me just hover over. No, yes, he does do the next stage, which I'm absolutely fine with. Because I can just block... He does bot deck the blue arm, so it's even better. Because obviously we've got the blue arm in hand. So what I need to focus on doing is actually stopping the first Vanguard swing. Because just for the sheer fact of I'll be taking the Chronojet, but I choose to actually take it because I'd hope for defensive. You see no crits off of that, and we hit the over trigger of all things. So yeah, that just happens. But obviously he's still got the out due to the fact that he could hit his over trigger on the next stage. And does swing in 41k at the Vanguard. At this point, I'm not going to care. If he hits crit over trigger, he hits crit over trigger. First check's no trigger, second check is a heal, which does benefit him. But now, he for some reason still swings in at the Vanguard to combo off with. And I'm just like, okay. Leave my blue arm there for me to actually put some pressure on. There we go. He does decide, oh, let's swing him actually at the rear guard. And I decide, no, I'd rather keep the rear guard. So, nice big bit of shield there. And draw. Don't have the re-ride, so I do use the Gradley. And we're getting a really nice hand to work off of here. So obviously, all the numbers are big again. And we start swinging. One thing to note is the opponent is actually a 13k base, they just haven't got the 2k on the Vanguard. It does make interesting because we can actually combo off nicely here. Retire the Bali and swing 35 at the Vanguard, which forces out 20k shield. Plus another 5 on top. And then the 2k goes to the arm to last till the end of turn. This also is 28k, so forcing another 20k shield. Which they do chuck down for me. And we then swing in with the Silhouette, Soul Blasting 1, equipping both my arms, which is a nice 26, 52, 54, plus big numbers. And then we get our Twin Drive. First check's no trigger. Second check's a crit. So here's where the bits get interesting. I give all effects to the left arm, so I can detach it. And yep, as the opponent wasn't aware, you could do that. So, as I'm saying, it's still a unit card, so you can still choose it for the effect of the trigger. And it's now a 46k swinging with a crit at the Vanguard. So it's forcing out a lot of guard from the opponent because they've got to block it or die. And we're now in the stupidly strong position of opponent's got one card in hand and strides into Fate Rider. We're still in a very strong position for the fact that we've got the Elementaria Sanctuary, which we don't have to discard for because he's obviously Strode. And if we wait to see how we guard, we can lead to some really interesting combos on top. The opponent does go into the upstream. Gets to flip that up. It's 20k to the front row because of the crest, plus the 25k that the bit gives. He gives it to the grade 1 GG. First check's nothing. Second check's nothing. Third check is his over trigger. But because we've blocked the Vanguard, we haven't got to deal with the 10k and the crit. So I do now know I do have to kill him next turn though. But just for the sheer fact of I'm not going to have the ability to protect myself the following turn. It does call out Steam Breath here, so it's going to be 51, so it does force out that I do have to use the Sanctitude this turn instead. And I'm a dumbass and forgot that I don't actually have to discard. So post me is smarter than current game me. So I can't do anything more, so I just chuck trigger down just so it hits the magic numbers. 15 plus the 6k to the front row makes 21, forcing 15k shield out. Takes it but gets a front, which is a bit of annoyance. 24, but it's forcing more shield out of his hand. We then swing in with the Silhouette. Get my double arms. Swing in for 51. He does use the Sanctitude. First check's a heal, which is a godsend for us, because that keeps us in the game. And second check is nothing. And we do get our arm, which allows us to now actually provide the extra bit of retiring something. Well, no, because it's grade 2s or higher, so we don't actually get to retire anything. But the opponent now physically can't stride, so we're in a very strong position. But they do still have the massive crest numbers. I do take this one. And both of us forget that the overtrigger's been triggered. And don't apply the crit. But it doesn't matter anyway, because I can't block the next attack and take it and get his game. So I shall catch you guys back again in a minute. And that was the game. So, few misplays on both sides for not keeping up with game states. But it was still very interesting nonetheless. If I'd have guarded differently with the Sanctuary, I may have been able to live. But we won't know, is the honest response. I could have also played smarter, and instead of going for the retire arm, actually going for the draw arm to try and regain a bit of hand back. So there are different bits that I could have made that would have made my game better, but this is literally a game from when I just picked the deck up and it was just me starting out. So let's take a quick look at the list. So as you can see from the list here, it's a very interesting list. As we talked about at the beginning, I do run the Cleaning Sisters package, just to give that extra front row buff to the Vanguard. As you saw from the numbers I was putting out, 81k on the Persona Rise is really threatening. It forces a perfect guard every single turn. But then the rear guards are still swinging nice numbers as well. Plus you can scale them well due to the effect crits to make them 28k swings. So it's forcing out more than just a trigger guard. So you get to apply a lot of pressure for the deck, which is really fun. And it's really nice. This doesn't do so well against retire decks, because obviously they're going to be retiring your left arm and right arm a lot more. You could compensate this by adding in extra copies of the machineries, but you're then ruining your consistency of the made package for the fact that that's what you've got to take out to add them in. All in all, deck's really fun, it's really enjoyable to play, and I can't wait to see what it does for the English meta. But that's all we've got time for in this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe, it very much does help the channel. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye!